Hi guys, this is Vidisha Vitlani and welcome back to Aussie's group and wishing you all a very good morning. And today's webinar is something that is going to be very interesting, something that's going to be very exciting. One of my favorite subjects always, and something that has always been a subject of interest for me. And this is about lexical resource. Lexical resource is nothing but your vocabulary. So, coming to writing or speaking, we all really want to score good marks. We want good bands, and for that, we do everything. We work on a content bit, we work on, cohesion. We've done paragraphing in our previous webinars, if you've known. We've had a number of webinars for writing component and speaking component. But what happens is that this is one element that I've always been specifying. And today I want to take that one element in depth, and that is called lexical resource. Lexical resource is nothing but your use of vocabulary. Now, a few things I want to tell you about the use of vocabulary. Just excuse me for a moment. I'm sorry. Right. So there is this one thing I would want to tell you about lexical resource, like what exactly it is. But before I start the webinar, first of all, I welcome all the participants. Thank you for being here. For those who are attending this for the first time, welcome. And for those who've been there with me, thank you for your constant support. It is because of you guys that I am encouraged to do this even more and more. And thank you for your positive feedbacks, and it really motivates me a lot. Okay, what I want you to do is, in case you have any queries, you can post it in the chat box. You can post it in the question answer. I think you can keep posting it in the question answer box. Chat box, you can ask any other queries relating to IELTS tutorials. They'll be answered by the admin. And if you have any queries ongoing the webinar, keep posting it in the question answer box. I'll be answering it, as and when I can. And towards the end of the session, 10 minutes I'll dedicate for all the FAQs you have relating to IELTS, be it any component that you are confused of, that you don't know of. Okay, before we start with lexical resource, before we start with TPT, let me tell you what lexical resource is and how can you actually maximize the use of it. Now see, we all, end up before going to the exam, it's a common mentality for us to learn number of words. We learn, we sit with, I have had students, you won't believe, who learn pages and pages of words. And especially sometimes they pick up books, related to GRE, and they end up learning words. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But on their exam, they don't score good. So why is that? Okay, now this is because of one reason, that when we volunteer, when we actually go for the speaking or when we go for writing, we're so much pressurized that the words that we have consciously learned, that the words we feel that, okay, I am going to use this, doesn't click. So there is this, I'll give you a very simple example. So there's this one student of mine who had mugged up this word, lion's share. And in every essay, he used to write lion's share, lion's share, lion's share. The moment he went for the exam, he couldn't remember the word. He was so pressurized. He was like, I spent 5 minutes, my mind was blocked, trying to remember that particular word. And I was like, it's okay if you wouldn't have used it. It doesn't make a big difference. Okay, so now how do you improve on this? We have to use good words. We know this. We also know that, sometimes there comes a time that we're not able to, gauge the words. We're not able to recognize the words. Okay, so how do you do this? Okay, one very simple trick is to keep using these words repetitively. For example, I have a habit of using umpteen, flabbergasted. So if you keep on using these words repetitively, what happens is you can use them in your day-to-day life. And of course, a good vocabulary. There's this quote that I'd heard somewhere: never underestimate the power of a decent vocabulary. So, of course, a good vocabulary is very important to impress people these days, right? So, you can use them and keep a fixed set of words. Smaller words, rather, for example, there's this word called device, DEVISE. Sorry. And what does device mean? Device means to make. Sometimes people are, let's formulate a plan. I'm like, let's devise a plan. So what is wrong in it? It is something that you're doing it to impress people, is something that you're using it in your day-to-day life. So once you start having a habit of using few words, every day keep 3 words, learn 3 words every day. Okay. Once you learn these 3 words every day, make sure you use those 3 words at least 3 times in your day-to-day life while talking to people. Randomly talk to people and inculcate these 3 words in your speaking. Definitely, you will do very well on lexical resource. Okay. So, without much ado, let us now start with our PPT. Let us start with the actual IELTS. So, I've prepared this PPT where I've added few words. So, I would prefer if you sit with a pen and pencil in case you want to take down few things. I'm very sure in this particular webinar you would want few things to be taken down. Okay, before we actually start, there's one important announcement that I want to make. There's a very February is a month of it's a lovely month, of course, for obvious reasons. And in this lovely month, I'm going to give you a special discount. So we have a 20% discount for all the candidates who attended this webinar. And if you put the code FEB20 and FEB20, you get a 20% discount on all our writing corrections. Our writing corrections are evaluated by competent faculties who are trained, who are certified trainers, and who actually mark you according to the marking criteria of IELTS. Luckily, we've had an amazing accuracy and we have lovely feedbacks received on the writing correction, so you can avail them. So just before the exam, you really want to see where you stand, you can avail this service and let's start. Okay, in case there's any query, you can keep posting it. I'll be, taking care of it as well. Right. Can you see the PPT? Hopefully, yes. Okay. So this is the code that you can use, step 20, with 20% discount on all writing corrections. Okay. Now, firstly, what is lexical resource for IELTS? This is the band criteria for 9 bands, 8 bands, 7 bands. Let's see 8 bands and let's see how well we need to do this. Okay. Uses a wide range of vocabulary fluently and flexibly to convey precise meanings. Okay, now there is this one concept, please understand. Lexical resource means knowing a wide range of words. Okay, the moment you know wide range of words, you're good at lexical resource, but make sure you use the correct word at the correct place. You can't use incorrect words. Okay, skillfully uses uncommon lexical resources, but there may be occasional inaccuracies. No inaccuracies, please. We have no room for inaccuracies at all. Produces rare errors in spellings and word formation. Avoid any of these, please. Right? Guys, post your queries in the question answer box and please avoid the chat box for now. And we can chit chat later. It makes more sense to me. Right. Okay. Now, what is lexical resource? Here is the clarity of what is lexical resource. Firstly, do you have enough vocabulary to discuss a range of topics? Now, what is this mean? For example, sometimes what happens is, let's say I want to say this is good. I'm speaking to somebody, you're talking about this is good, this is a nice place to visit, it's a good thing. If we end up doing the same thing, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. You can't do that, okay? You have to use a variety of words. Don't repeat your words. Have a habit of not repeating words. The moment you don't repeat words, you're sorted. Okay. Moving on, how to use vocabulary accurately. Use the correct word at the correct place. You can't use words that are incorrect just because you know the word. Don't make sure you're not just using it. For example, flabbergasted. Flabbergasted means shocked or surprised. And I saw a dog and I got flabbergasted. That means like I can't use it as a substitute of scared. So whatever the word is, please make sure you're using it in the correct way. Able to explain yourself when you do not have the right word. Now, this is a trick that the masters can master. Let's say you don't know the correct word. I don't know a particular word, but I am explaining it in the form of sentence. So that also is called lexical resource because I have words to convey my idea. I have words to convey my meaning. That is lexical resource for IELTS. Now, what is a common mistake here? The common mistake here, as I always said, is to use long words without really knowing what they mean. Okay. we'll discuss words today. I think today's session is more a practical session, so I think you'll be very happy with it. Okay, now, can you see this? Uses less common lexical items with some awareness of style and collocation. Now, what is collocation? Basically, something that we're going to understand. And collocations are very, very important. This is important in your writing. This is important in your speaking. Understand the concept very clearly. To be honest, collocations are nothing but they're couple words. Okay, collocations are absolutely nothing but they're couple words. They're two words used together. The words that go together are known as collocations. It generally shows your lexical resource. It shows that you're really good at it. Okay, now here are some examples of collocations. Words that naturally go together, like the lion roars. Obviously, the lion cannot shout. It rains heavily. I made a terrible mistake. Apologize profusely. Heavy snow. This is basically adverbs, adjectives, nouns, couple words are called as collocations. Let's study a little bit in depth. Remember one thing: if you say the trend, let's say the demand increased. Okay, so rather I can say the demand dramatically increased or the demand increased rapidly. If I'm using another word to describe it, that becomes a collocation that's going to give you much more marks, many more marks. Okay. At any moment you find that I'm going too fast, or at any moment you don't understand a particular word, because we're going to do a lot of words today. So any moment you actually realize that we're not going to, that I'm going too fast, or not understood the meaning, pronunciation, spelling, you yet to take a note of it, please stop me. I will explain you again. Right. The first word is the first type of, there are different types of collocations, okay? So the first type is adverb and adjective. For this, you need to have a basic knowledge of parts of speech. Let me tell you what these are. First of all, noun. What does a noun mean? A noun means simply a thing, like a bottle, chair, pen, computer. All these are nouns. Adjective is a word that describes the noun. Like, for example, if I'm talking about the door, it is a strong door. So strong becomes an adjective because it's giving more information about the door. He's a tall boy. So tall becomes an adjective, boy becomes a noun. Then comes verb. What is a verb? Verb is an action word. For example, I am running. So the running becomes a verb. And what is an adverb? Adverb is nothing but a word that describes the verb. For example, I am running fast. That's called an adverb. So I hope the concepts of nouns and adjectives and adverb is clear. Noun is basically thing. Name, place, animal, thing is a noun. Any word that describes a noun is an adjective. Verb is nothing but an action word, something that denotes action. And any word that describes the verb becomes an adverb. I hope this is clear. Let's see the first type of collocation. The first type of collocation is when you use an adverb and an adjective together, like invading that country was utterly stupid thing to do. Stupid thing. So if you go to see thing is a noun, the word describing the thing is stupid. How is a thing? The thing is stupid. Plus I've added an adverb to it, like utterly means completely. So that becomes a collocation, utterly stupid. We entered a richly decorated room. So decorated is an adjective because it gives you more information about the room. And I've added an adverb here, that is richly. Okay, so richly decorated becomes a collocation. So if you go to see, there are two words, there are couple words as I mentioned earlier, right? Are you fully aware of the implications of your action? Fully aware. So that becomes a collocation as well. The second type of collocation is a very simple collocation that you can use all the time. And make sure that whenever you use a noun, you put an adjective so that it becomes a collocation. As simple as that. And we have it all the time. The doctor ordered him to take regular exercise. Exercise being a noun, adjective is regular. The Titanic sank on its maiden voyage. Voyage is a noun, maiden is an adjective. He was writing on the ground and he was written on the ground in excruciating pain. Pain is a noun, pain is an abstract noun, whereas excruciating becomes your adjective. Okay, the third one is noun plus noun when you use two nouns together. Like, for example, school of thought is also something like this. There are a fixed type of collocations. These are generally difficult to use, and these are generally phrases basically. Um, let's give Mr. Jones a round of applause. A round of applause is collocation. The ceasefire agreement came into effect at 11 a.m. So ceasefire agreement is a collocation. I'd like to buy 2 bars of soap, please. So bars of soap is a collocation. So basically, noun plus noun is also used. School of thought, as I mentioned earlier. Right. The fourth is noun plus a verb. Noun plus a verb, again, it's very simple. See, most of the collocations I tell you guys comes in your natural speech. Whenever you're actually talking, you don't even realize you're using couple words and you end up doing that. But sometimes, if you feel that you're going for writing and you feel that you want to really score good marks, please make sure that in a sentence you've used it. In a paragraphs, have you used a collocation? If you've given a noun, put an adjective to it. If you've given a verb, put an adverb to it. So these are simple methods of using a collocation. Add it accordingly. Right. The lion started to roar when it heard the dog barking. So dog is the noun, barking is a verb. Snow was falling. So snow is a noun. Falling is a verb. As a plane took off. So plane took off again is a collocation. The bomb went off when he started the car engine. So if you go to see, these are very natural words. These are very, simple words, but they account for your lexical resource. They're the ones which are giving you, marks. So it's a very good thing. Okay. The prisoner was hanged for committing murder. So committing murder, that becomes a verb plus a noun again. So noun plus verb. So noun comes first, verb comes later. It's the reverse way here. I do my homework in the morning after making my bed. So making your bed is your collocation. Right. Verb plus the prepositions are here. We had to return home because we ran out of money. So ran out of money is a phrase. Again, what's the phrase becomes a collocation in itself. Her eyes filled with horror. Filled with horror is again a phrase. Burst into tears. That is also a phrase. The behavior was enough to drive anybody to crime. So again, the seventh one is again a very, very simple one. So that's verb plus an adverb. So again, make sure you can use this. I believe the seventh one, the verb plus an adverb plus the adjective and the noun is something that you can very commonly use. So make sure you do so. She placed her keys gently on the table and sat down. Mary whispered softly in John's ears. I vaguely remember. So this is all about collocations. Can I move on? Okay, now what are connotations? Some words have similar meaning, but they're used in positive or negative sense. So you have to make sure that you use the correct word at the correct time. So for example, this is actually for accuracy, not to sound vague or confusing, and to improve balance. For example, he has a laid back attitude. So when I'm talking, like sugarcoating thing is nothing but connotation. And I think for your personal and professional life, you have to learn this quite well. So basically, if I want to tell you that you're very lazy, I can't simply say that. You can simply say that he's quite laid back, or you can say he's quite of a procrastinator. So that becomes a connotation. Um, somebody is slim, thin, or skinny, respectively. So you can't say, oh my God, he's skinny. So rather you can say he's quite slim. He has a slender frame. You can say something like that rather than using thin. So keep a note of connotations that you don't use extreme negative words for anybody else speaking or writing. It doesn't make any sense to me. Always have a habit of sugarcoating things. Always have a habit of presenting it more formally, because the words that you use have to be very, very formal, very, very, you're going for a proper formal interview, and your writing is also a formal setup. It's a formal write-up, so please be very careful with it. Okay, what are phrasal verbs? Now, see, phrasal verbs are nothing but phrases, and I want you to use them in your speaking. They're very, very important. There are some phrases that we use in our day-to-day life, like take off, taken off. So make sure that you use them in the precise meanings. Here's a list of few. The turn down means to refuse. I turn down is offer. Leave out it, omit it, go on with it, set up, go off is to explore, give up. That means you're, leaving it away, work out. So let's work this out. Make up means to, to invent something rather. Like I want to make up for the mistake I did. So that's make up. Okay. So if you go to this is used by native speakers. As I said, whatever comes in your natural speech, I've always mentioned this, whatever comes in your natural speech, whatever comes in your natural conversation. The speaking is judged on 4 criteria. But if somebody asks me, I would say there is one thing that is going to give you maximum marks, and that is the way you conversate, the way you have a conversation with somebody. Your ability to speak naturally is something that's going to give you the maximum marks. So if you go to see why a phrase is going to give you maximum marks, firstly because they're used by native speakers. Secondly, they're very less formal, and because in this is your speaking, and helps to push 8 bands higher. So this is basically your idiomatic language. You can take a note of these words. Okay, the next concept that we're going to do is the concept of paraphrasing. The concept of paraphrasing, I believe, is the most important part in IELTS. It is, I think I've said it like a million times before, and I've always said that this poor word has been undervalued since ages. The moment you learn the art of paraphrasing, you're actually sorted with half the things of listening and of reading, of writing and speaking. You've won half your battle when you've learned paraphrasing. Now, what is paraphrasing? What does paraphrasing basically mean? Paraphrasing basically means that when you use, when you're saying something and then you use different words, when you use different sentence structures, that is paraphrasing. That itself means that, you're rephrasing the statement. So, how do you do it? You do it using synonyms. Don't change all the words, you just change the words that denote the key idea. Avoid mistakes, you change the word forms from noun to verb, from verb to adverb, changing the sentence structure, active to passive. It's a simple statement. You can make it complex that way. You can paraphrase the band scores. Okay, paraphrase the practice lessons very well. Okay, so here are a few examples of paraphrasing. Do you work or are you a student? So what most of the students do is they're like, I work or I'm a student. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to not repeat the same words. You cannot repeat the same words. You have to go for words that are different. For example, do you see the answer that I have written? I have written an answer that I don't have a job at the moment, but I'm studying to be an engineer, right? How often do you eat snacks? So I can't say I often eat snacks. I have to say I frequently enjoy eating little bits here and there, something like that. Okay, what was the last book you read? Okay, so I can't say the last book I read was so and so. You can actually add, things like, honestly, I don't remember the last book I read, but I believe or I assume that it was roughly last week. I finished a novel and it was about something. So make sure that when you speak, when you're actually speaking, you don't repeat the words the examiner asks. This is the most important tip I want to give you for our speaking. Most of us have this habit that, do you like rains? Oh, I love rains. Rather, please go for something, I am fond of rains, or I enjoy watching the rains, or I believe rains are a pleasure to the soul. Something like that. Please do not give the exact yes no answers. It's not going to work with you. You will not get your bands. You will be stuck up on a 7, you'll be stuck up on a 6.5. You're aiming at really high scores at With our webinars, we actually pinpoint a few ingredients, to really get. And one such secret ingredient is paraphrasing. I mean, I genuinely believe students are really good at paraphrasing. Students who answer it this way have got amazing scores. So before you go for the exam, please practice this a lot. I'll tell you how to do this. The moment you hear the question, think of the exact similar word. Like, let's say how important it is to study regularly. So rather than important, I'll say essential. According to me, it is essential to study every single day. So instead of regularly, I used every single day. Instead of important, I used essential. So this is exactly what you're supposed to do. This is exactly what you are expected to do rather. Okay, let's see the part two questions. Describe a time you waited in line for a long time. So, I know a time where I waited in line for a long time. I don't want you to say that. On one memorable occasion, I chose to stand in a queue. Line, queue. Waited, I've got this. Getting in? So please make sure. Describe a problem while you had while traveling. And see, rather than problem, I use the word nightmare. Traveling because I was going for a flight. Getting this? What are the advantages and disadvantages? The chief advantage of this is, okay, and the main reason people don't prefer. So don't pick up the same words. Here, my entire point of showing you this slide, my entire agenda of this particular slide is to make you understand that when you go for a speaking exam, this is exactly what lexical resource is, that you know a wide range of words which the examiner has not spoken. Use similar words, use words which are similar, use words that denote the same meaning, that convey the same meaning, right? Shall I move on? Okay, now here are few idioms that I have cracked and put up few idioms which you can use. And see, hard. The first two are for a person. Hard nut to crack is a person who is difficult to know well. So you can say, my friend is an introvert and he's definitely a hard nut to crack. That means he's definitely somebody who's, cannot be understood. One tough cookie. One tough cookie means somebody who's very strong in life, somebody who's been physical strength. He is one tough cookie, and that is what impresses me about him the most. So, one tough cookie. Okay, all things to all people. Obviously, the meaning of this is very, very easy. Be everybody's friend, do everything for others is not easy. Backseat driver is not a very positive idiom. It means that a person who, always tells somebody what to do, and when he or she, is not required to talk. Please don't, be a backseat driver to me when you don't know your job properly. Let me do my job. So it's something like this. Tough as nails again means something that is super strong and super tough. Again, then the last one is a very common one, the jack of all and master of none. You can also, this is also quite a negative idiom which you can use to describe a person. Can I move ahead? Okay, now I have made a list of few words which you can use for a person, for a place. So generally coming to cue cards, we have, always understood this one thing, that there are common questions asked describing a friend, describing a family member, describing a place. So I've got few adjectives for a person, few adjectives for a place. So, this will help you get more uncommon words, and at the same time, this will help you. These are easy words. If you go to see all these words that I have listed are something that is very, very simple words. They're not words that are difficult to remember. These are very easy, very and very commonly used words. I'll just explain you each word and its meanings. You can take a note of this if you want again. The first and the second word, amiable, affable. What does amiable and affable mean? Amiable and affable means simply somebody who is very, very friendly, somebody who is very easy to talk to is called affable. So when you're describing a friend or when you're describing a family member, even a celebrity, so you can simply say he's known to be very affable, he's known to be very amiable. So known to be again is a phrase, amiable is a good word. So your lexical resource is going to go high. Then you can say, one thing that wins my heart about him is he's very amiable, he's quite affable. So that way, so affable is an adjective that you can use for a person who is very friendly. Exactly, not exactly opposite, but yes, kind of an opposite word for this is obnoxious. Obnoxious simply means somebody is quite rude, somebody who is, it's something unpleasant. So you can say it's an obnoxious smell also. You can say there's an obnoxious, his obnoxious behavior is intolerable. His personality is only obnoxious. So obnoxious means somebody who is very, very rude. Okay, the next come procrastinator. Now, what does a procrastinator mean? Something that goes for everybody, I think, except for people who are meticulous. Okay, so what does a procrastinator mean? A procrastinator means a person who keeps on delaying everything till the last moment. A person who's very lazy, a person who keeps on delaying things. So let's say I want to tell somebody that why I want to tell a subordinate that why are you so lazy? Why do you have to keep delaying things? And I cannot say it on face. So remember that connotation that I had taught you that when you sugarcoat things, when you actually have to present things in a mellow manner, you can use this word. Simply means delaying things. So you can simply say, stop procrastinating things. Procrastinating becomes a verb. Procrastinator is a noun. Okay. Meticulous. Meticulous means a very impressive, positive trait, I think. Trait, this is. Trait is characteristic for your information. Meticulous means somebody who is very perfect, somebody who is quite, whatever he does, he's doing it with proper, everything is prim, everything is proper, and somebody very, very perfect in the work is meticulous. For example, I can simply say that I haven't found a meticulous person ever in my life, or I've never seen somebody as meticulous as him in my life. So, as meticulous as him again becomes a phrase, again, you're going to get more marks with this, right? The next word is also a very positive word. It's called jovial. So somebody is very happy to go lucky. Somebody is very jolly in nature. Is called jovial. So his jovial nature is very impressive again. Or he's quite jovial in nature. He makes everybody laugh. He's so jovial that nobody can get bored around him in his company. Okay, the last one is proficient. Again, you can use this as a proper, as a compliment to someone. Like he's very proficient in English. That means he's very proficient with his words. He's very proficient with his work. That means you are very good at something is called as proficient. Okay, now the last word, pay close attention to adept. ADEPT. Now, what does adept mean? Adept simply means very skillful, to be good at something. Another word for skillful is dexterous. Okay, when you're saying the word adept, please be careful that you don't really write ADAPT because the word ADAPT simply means that you are simply means adapt. Adapt is to adjust. When you're using words which you feel are difficult, make sure you read the spellings accurately. Make sure you write in each word and the spelling of each word correctly because the spellings cannot go wrong. Your spellings have to be correct. Okay, can I move on to the next slide? Okay, now these are the words for actually describing your place. Like for example, again, place is asked quite commonly in your IELTS exam. Like place, like talk about a beautiful country you want to visit, talk about a beautiful city you want to go to, talk about a far away remote place you want to go to, and you can use all these words there. So the first word again is pristine. Pristine means something that is extremely pure, extremely untouched. For example, the pristine beauty of the beach cannot be compared with anything else. So pristine means something that is very pure and very untouched. You can say Maldives. I have seen nothing as pristine as Maldives ever before. So pristine is something like that. Then comes the word captivating. Captivating means again where you're captivated, we're truly amazed by something. You can say, I had a captivating view from my balcony of the mountains. That is captivating. The third word is spectacular. Obviously, it's a very commonly used word. So I'm giving you a list of words so that you can't repeat words, you don't repeat words, and you have a variety to look up to. Right. Appealing. Appealing means something that appeals to the eye, something that you like. So you can say that the resort was quite appealing. It had a lot of facilities. The greenery was appealing. The greenery was alluring. Alluring means again to attract something. Allure. Fairyland is a phrasal verb. Like, for example, obviously, I felt I was in fairyland. The resort was so good that it seemed like a fairyland to me. It's again a phrasal word. Scenic beauty, again, is a collocation here. For example, the scenic beauty that I witnessed was unbelievable, or the scenic beauty that I witnessed there was too good to be true, or the scenic beauty that I witnessed there was a treat to my eyes, breathtaking, and picturesque. So again, these are the adjectives for doing a place: pristine, captivating, spectacular, appealing, fairyland, scenic beauty, breathtaking, and picturesque. And same thing, adjectives for a person: amiable, affable, obnoxious, procrastinator, meticulous, jovial, proficient, and adept. You might have realized I hardly picked up 7 to 8 adjectives for both these categories. Now, why is this? When you study, you do exactly the same. Pick up only a few words. See, if you believe that, okay, you're going to list 100, 200 words and you're going to speak them, that's not going to happen. But you choose point specific words that you use for a particular situation. And when you keep on doing that again and again and again, you have a habit of using them. So you might have realized that there are a few words that we speak quite often. For example, I have a habit of speaking basically. So same thing, get into your blood to speak these words. And always, whenever you're preparing for a broad spectrum like this, for example, you're preparing for person, place, in this way, I want you to prepare for a situation also, circumstance also. So pick up few words that you're going to use every time and don't make a whole list of words. Prepare few positive, few negative, and you're done. Getting it? And then you can, he's extremely not affable, and that's what, and then you can use the positive ones as negative ones also. Like his non-proficiency is something that irritates me. Okay. Or you can say that I wish he were a little bit more meticulous with his work. So you can use even the positives for negatives as such. It's just a trick, it's just a small trick of doing so. Right. Uh, I really want you to do this. The reason of me giving you, this small list is that you don't necessarily. It's not necessary that you know a lot of words. See, imagine you're going to write just 250 words there. You're just going to speak for 10 minutes. Then you're not absolutely. It's humanly impossible to use a lot more words. So keep a tab on words. Keep a list of words that you really know, which you really can use in your day-to-day life, and you'll be sorted. Okay, now this I have done as a paraphrasing thing. This I have done for you so that you can learn your paraphrasing well. So let's say my question is important and I have to answer. So once I used important, okay, for example, education is important for every child. Okay, so then I can't keep on using it's important, it's important, it's important. It's essential. It is crucial for the development of any child. It plays a pivotal role in the development of any child. It is a prime ingredient for the developing the personality of any child. It is vital. It is significant. It's paramount. It's the same way you have to use different words. So I've had, always these are the few things that your essay topics are based on: salary, education, government. So I've had a list of a few words jotted down for you, and you can definitely use them. So many, like for example, this is this very common thing that we have to use. There are many things about this, there are many things, there are many advantages of this, there are many disadvantages of that. So rather than using many every single time, you use myriad, you use numerous, you use plethora, you use innumerable, diverse, multifarious, umpteen, something like that, and you can do really well. So each time you use a different word, you're showing that you know different words. The moment you showed that you know different words, you sorted the lexical resource, right? So basically, what is lexical resource? The basic aim of lexical resource is for the examiner to know that you know a wide variety of words. And the moment you use each word differently, this is something that they can figure it out, right? And make sure you have a tab of these words. Make sure you're not repeating the words. The moment you're practicing, let's say I'm practicing something, and I realize I've used the word good a lot of times. Change it. Change it consciously, at least while writing. In speaking, sometimes in the natural flow, we're not able to change it, but at least in the writing, we change it. Take one step towards it. I'm very sure, even for a week, if you keep practicing this, your lexical resource will improve. And lexical resource is something that you have it in your hands. You are the one who can develop your lexical resource. You are the one who can develop your language towards it. So if it is in your control, take charge of it and do it the best. Put your maximum effort here. Okay. Then the salary, every time you can't say the salary is good or the salary is bad. The pay is good, earnings is good, income, gross income, remuneration, take home pay. Use words like this. For educate, now, okay, these are related words. These are not absolute synonyms. You can't use every word every time. Like I have education, so I have study, I have schooling, I have pedagogy, I have book learning, coaching, literacy. Pedagogy simply means the teaching method. So rather than teaching method, you can use the word pedagogy. Literacy means the education level. How many, like the literacy rate among people of India is increasing day by day. So that is literacy. Government, you can use administration, sometimes you can use council, you can use ministry, authority, state, jurisdiction. Make sure you're not repeating the words. That's the concern. And also make sure when you use these words, you're not genuinely, using the wrong word at the wrong place. It's very important to even check the word form. For example, pedagogy is a noun. Okay, but a pedagogue is a pedagogy is the noun. Pedagogue is a person who teaches. It's an old-fashioned teacher. It's called a pedagogue. So please make sure you're running correct word at the correct place. You're not just using. For example, always, important, and crucial cannot be interchanged. However, there will be certain circumstances where you'll be able to use it, but not in every possible way you'll be able to use it, right? Okay, now let's again go to the band descriptors. I want you to look at this. See this. Uses a sufficient range of vocabulary. So how are you going to use a sufficient range of vocabulary? By noting a few synonyms, okay? Uses less common lexical items with some awareness of style and collocation. Style and collocation, style is your phrasal verbs. Collocation is the couple words that I taught you. Please understand what collocations are. Collocations also give you maximum marks. Paraphrasing, synonyms, related words, collocations. This is all about lexical resource. If you really want to do well, learn these words, learn few words which you keep on speaking every single day. You will do absolutely good with this. May produce occasional errors in word choice. Never do this. Please make sure your statements are error-free. You're actually good with this, and I'm very sure you'll be able to do this. Okay. Also take care of this thing. For example, it always rains heavily. It doesn't rain strongly. So though heavily and strongly are similar words. Remember I told you that, there are words, these are synonyms, but not always you will be able to use them. So make sure that when you use the words, you're using them at the correct place. The aim of lexical resource, the crux of lexical resource is that you're using the correct word for the correct place. You're using absolutely perfect words. You're not going wrong with words. Okay. Phrases, please learn a number of phrases for situations. The moment you practice an essay, pick up a word and pick up your topic and search all the phrases relating to that topic. At the end of, like I always tell my students to make an essay book, and at the end of the essay book, make sure that you have a list of words that you use for different situations. There are readily available books in the market. Don't use them. Make your own vocab book. There are certain words that you will be very comfortable to use. There are certain words that you may not be comfortable to use. So have your own set of words which you're comfortable with. Paraphrasing, again, a very, very, very important part in our speaking. Don't repeat what the examiner says. Again, substitute it with simple words. I am not basically claiming that you have to use I-5 words, you have to use those big fancy words, long words, not necessary. Long words are not going to give you any marks on lexical resource if you use them wrongly. Getting my point? So please understand the fact that don't repeat what the examiner is asking you. Like, let's say examiner is asking you, do you often delay things? You can easily reply, no, I don't procrastinate things. I'm quite meticulous with my work and I finish it on time. Getting it? Are people in your country always late? People in my country do value time and they don't arrive, and they usually are very punctual. Getting it? So late, punctual, value of time. Don't repeat the examiner's words, or even in your writing paraphrasing, don't exactly copy down the question. I want you to paraphrase the question. So please don't underestimate the word, the paraphrasing thing. Also, before I forget, don't forget this code. You can avail discounts for our writing corrections. It's called FEB20. You can put it down. You get 20% off for our writing corrections, and we're very happy to help you with it. Okay, I want to answer a lot of FAQs. I see questions, a lot of them. So please wait till the FAQs get over, and then we can end our session for today. Yes, the first question, do we have? Want to improve my writing and speaking? Dear, if you want to improve your writing and speaking, a very, very important part is the band description table. Don't underestimate the band descriptor table. Keep a note of it. The band descriptor table is very, very important, because the moment you study your band descriptor table, you know what the examiner is actually looking for you. And the moment you realize what the examiner actually wants, you'll be able to do it properly. So if you're really studying the band descriptor table, it's going to be lovely. Right. Any more questions? You can put it in the chat box. Okay. There's this one question that was asked to me quite often. What if I don't know vocabulary, or what if during my exam I forget my vocabulary and I don't write? Will I get a 5.5? No. According to the band descriptor table, if you have used the correct word at the correct place, you can score 6.5. But I am telling you, again, substitute simple words, important, crucial, essential. We know the basic English words. If you don't repeat words in any which way, is going to get very good marks. Just keep this paraphrasing trick in mind. Even in your introduction part, in your writing task 2, the essay, you're supposed to paraphrase the question, right? And when you're paraphrasing the question, make sure you indulge in changing the sentence structure, and as well as using similar words that we did right now, something quite convenient to that easily. Right. Do we have any more questions? Do we have you have any queries relating to IELTS? You can go for it. Okay. How important is lexical resource? Each of the band descriptor plays an equal role. You are marked on each band descriptor individually, and an average of 4 band descriptors are taken. So it's taken, for example, in speaking, it is fluency, coherence, it is lexical resource, it is grammar and pronunciation. So all these 4 are actually taken an average of. In writing, it is task, achievement, coherence, cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. So lexical resource plays 1/4, 25% of your marks depend on your lexical resource, depend on today's webinar, depend on paraphrasing, depend on how well you use your collocations. So please work on it. It is this 25% is in your hand. Yes, how to get a 7 in speaking and writing. Oh my God, this is a very important question which is asked to me every time. Every time I always saw this, I explained it to you. Practice is the key. Watch my webinars. I have explained a lot about grammar. I've said a lot about writing task 1, 2. We've done reading. Speaking and writing. See, speaking, basically your ability to have a natural conversation, the ability to talk, the ability to think of different words, think of different ideas is going to give you 7. Writing, you have to have a good quality content, you have to have good words, your grammar has to be good, your format has to be correct, and then you can get your 7. But basically, I also stress, with lexical resource, grammar is equally important. We've had 2 webinars before. You can watch them on the pre-recorded webinars. They're taken by another trainer. She's my colleague, Shweta Gandhi, who's taken the grammar webinars, and you can visit her. Okay. Any which ways, I would want to tell you before I forget, these webinars are available on the IELTStutorialsonline.com, and you can register for the next ones also. And the previous ones are given in the recorded webinars. And the moment you click on that, a YouTube link is going to open. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to us. Please like us if you genuinely feel that this particular video is useful to you. Do show some, do encourage us, do motivate me. Obviously, in the world of likes, this is the only way I can realize that I'm doing a good job. So please help me out with that. And I'm always happy to help. In case you have any other queries relating to IELTS, please come up with things. Can I get a band 7 with normal vocabulary? Yes, you can. But normal vocabulary includes a little bit of uncommon words. Like, for example, rather than attractive, you can say it is very alluring. Simple words. I'm not saying you don't have to use long words. Okay. Make sure you're not looking for any words which are very long. If you go to see, I've not used even one word that is difficult to remember. So rather than make, you can say formulate plans or devise a plan. So something like that. Basic words, if you know, you're sorted with the 7. You don't have to worry according to band descriptor table. Like the table that I was reading to you in the end was a 7 band, and on the top was an 8 band. A suggestion to do webinar for the reading section, true false not given. We've done that. Thank you so much. And we've done that. I've done that almost twice with true false not given and heading. I know it gives you a panic attack and it gives us a shiver when it comes to reading true false not given and this match the headings. We've done that already, and I will do it in the future also. Thank you so much for the suggestion. I would definitely keep that in mind. Anyways, if you have exams in the near future, you can watch the pre-recorded one. You can post your comments also inside. If you have any queries, will be below the video. You can post your comments, and I'll be happy to help you with that as well. If you have any queries, or if you want to go for online coaching, you can book. We have an IELTS tutorials online. You can go there and you can book your online slots. You can take writing corrections. So if you're in any part of the world and you feel where physical coaching is not available, you can go for this. Or you don't have time to attend a proper classroom session, you can do with our webinars, you can do with our online coaching. We have every weekly webinars, we have live sessions. You can go our page. We have an application as well, so you can download that too. Okay. How can I increase my vocabulary in 10 days? I have my IELTS test in 10 days and my vocabulary is not that good. As I told you, if you see today, like we covered so many words. You won't believe, in this 1 hour, I have put up at least 50 words, 50 new things that I have taught you. Out of 50, you're going to remember 5. At least 5 words you remember. You remember pristine, remember alluring, remember device, because I've repeatedly spoken it. Keep using these. Keep a set of words that you use very often. Like, for example, for government, similar words. For important, similar words. The last slide, which I showed you, do something like that. Pick 5 words every day and pick similar words to that. The moment you keep doing that, you will improve. The 5 words, 5 similar words. 5 words, 5 similar words. And use that. Use that when you write. Obviously, since it's the last 10 days, I'm very sure you're practicing very hard and you do at least 1 writing, 1 speaking each day. I torture my students to do that actually. So I assume you must be doing that too. So if you're doing that, once you write an essay, again, you're writing on one topic, think of all the possible words you can put in that topic. The moment you put it, you're sorted. Any other queries? You want to know the meaning of any other word, any other phrase, any other random questions you have? Okay. Okay, while focusing on vocabulary, don't think that just because you use good words, use good heavy words, you're going to do very well. So, there is one student who had an amazing command over vocabulary because he'd studied for another competitive exam. And his vocabulary was too good, but he didn't know how to use it properly. Sometimes there were errors in it. That is also okay, but sometimes he would go really out of focus and really bored while writing. And when he came back, he really got a 6, and he was quite disappointed. He's like, "Ma'am, I know a lot of words and I've been using them very nicely. Then why did I, get less bands?" So I told him that it's because of the content as well. So, make sure amidst using words, you don't get lost, and focus on the content also. The content is also equally important. The first step is the content, rather. It's always, I have ideas, but I'm not able to put it in writing. Everybody is, we always have that. So that's because of our writing thing. So you know what I do? I tell my students that sometimes if you don't have a habit and you don't have much time, like you have 5 to 10 days to do this, keep reading a lot. When you read a lot, automatically, subconsciously, your mind is registering few sentences and which you can use them. Also, if you genuinely can't figure out anything, translate. It's easier. It's the easier way out to translate. I've heard a lot of English trainers actually give advice: think in English, think in English, don't think in your native language. But sometimes, we are missed a spot. We can't think in English. I can't, like, for example, whatever language your first thought is going to come in a language that you're comfortable in. So in case in your writing you're lacking time, you don't have enough time to do anything, please switch, please translate, that works. Meanwhile, keep reading a lot, keep listening to a lot of audios, listen to TED speakers, listen to essays, and keep reading so much that at least when the time you go for exam, the basic level thoughts you have, the advanced level thoughts, if you're translating, that's making sense to me. Don't worry. I see that you've been panicking about writing and speaking with this, because the number of questions that you've asked me shows that you're very nervous. Don't be nervous. Relax. It's okay. It's just 250 words that you're supposed to write, and it's just almost 15 to 20 minutes that you're supposed to speak. I'm very sure with the basic knowledge of English also you'll be able to do this. So don't panic, don't stress, have a lot of confidence. Of course, for speaking, as I say, the main charm of your speaking is your confidence, the way you talk, the way you impress the examiner. If you're confidently using any word, sometimes even a slip goes unnoticed. So be very confident in what you talk, guys. It is the most important element of speaking and the not natural conversation. It's just an interview. You're just simply talking to another human in a formal way. That is about it. So when that's about it, there's nothing to worry about. So lexical resource is something that you should. I always tell my students lexical resource is something that you should improve out of a hobby. It's vocabulary is something that you should be fond of learning new words. You should have an interest in learning new words. You should have an interest in using those words in the day-to-day life, and that's how you can improve basically in your lexical resource. I think I'll be signing off right now because I don't see any more queries. That means that hopefully I've answered all your questions very well. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this webinar was useful to you. I hope this session was useful to you. Don't forget to like us on YouTube. Don't forget to avail the discount that I have given you. Thank you so much, guys, for all the love and support that you've given me. Thank you for motivating me so much to do this every single time. And thank you. And all the best for your exams. Don't panic. Don't get nervous. Be confident. And I'm very sure you guys are going to do very well. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend ahead.